Hey, what's up, guys? I decided to make another video, this time on City Hunter Shinjuku Private Eyes. I actually really enjoyed this. I've watched everything of City Hunter now except for the new movie, but that's not available at all in English yet. But I heard there's a release in July, so maybe they'll release it here too. I'm hoping Discotheque gets it as well because I really like Discotheque and I love the slipcovers. But I really enjoyed this movie. Truthfully, I was saving it until I finished the City Hunter Korean drama because I've been going through everything City Hunter, um, and I kind of wanted to save that for the end, like to go back to the anime because I've been watching a lot of the live action stuff and it's different. But I really enjoyed this. It had kind of middling reviews, I think, but what it did, it was good. It was, in the modern day, which at first I was like, I don't know, but it won me over in the end. It definitely won me over in the end. I'm just gonna completely go into spoilers in this. I'm not gonna bother like beating around the bush. You haven't seen it, you like City Hunter, go watch it. I'm pretty sure it's on Crunchyroll or some shit. Um, so I made another list here. They changed the apartment to the one in the manga, which I thought was pretty interesting. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I actually prefer the way the anime one looked. Um, which I feel like that also kind of takes it off of like it being canon a little bit. Like they should have just left it. Like I don't know why they decided to do it that way in the original anime, but either way, um, they finally revealed. I keep looking. They finally revealed the professor. If you've read the manga, like even a little bit, so this isn't really much of a manga spoiler here. There's a professor who knew Rio in the past, and they brought him in here, and they did make it seem like Corey and her never met before. They even had a girl, which I think is the same one from the episode with the bees. Um, which happens in the manga as well. Like she ends up working with him, so that was interesting. But it fits with the anime because they act like they didn't meet before. Um, they used a lot of the music from City Hunter, and I absolutely love that. Like during the fight scenes, I mentioned in my original City Hunter kind of review, I absolutely love that. Like in the scene where they're fighting all the military guys, like him and I forget like what the dude's name is, Rick or something, like boyfriend, a girlfriend who he killed in the in that duel, which was pretty sweet. And they had the sweet music playing. They do that a lot in here, and there wasn't really any song I really disliked except for which I'll kind of move on to my next point here. They did a Cat's Eye crossover. I didn't really like that song. I haven't seen Cat's Eye. It took me like a couple seconds, and I was like, oh, it's Cat's Eye. I do want to watch that in the future. They did do a release, but I've just been getting you know getting so much stuff. It's like I need to slow it down so I can actually watch the stuff I got. Um, so that was like a little, if I actually watched it, I'm sure I would have been like, whoa, because I remember reading specifically that it wasn't canon. Like he said that, I think in the manga when I was reading it, but this is the anime, some things are different. Anyway, so that was great. I almost had no clue. The fighting, the hand to hand fighting is a lot better. I really like the hand to hand fighting, like even in the original anime. But if you watched it, they reuse a lot of frames, um, which I wasn't, I just like seeing him like beat ass, and he does that a lot more, like with different animations and stuff. Also, let's see. Oh, okay. So I'll go more and also a little bit more of action. Something I wasn't the biggest fan of in this is it seemed like they kind of made Rio like stop killing people, which once again, like it seems like he does that. In Angel Heart, they do that, like where he says he's not going to kill people, and they kind of deal with that, even in live action. But here it's like he kills people, and I get it. Like I said this before, if he kills people, like these stupid gangsters, like for no reason, when he can just disarm them, that's he doesn't need to do that. But when he's fighting these guys, like these mercenaries or whatever, he should be shooting to kill. Like when Corey is like kidnapped by I forget their name, but the three siblings, and Rio has to go on a boat, and he's like fighting all the way through. That was pretty sweet. Like, and he was killing people, just to get through it. So I really enjoyed that. I just felt like it seemed like he shot him in the arm. I feel like maybe they could have died, but I feel like they really kind of showed that they shot him in the arm. a lot of the I'm pretty sure like all the original voice actors came back, which I really like that. Like if you, I also want to mention this. If you watch like this in dub after watching the OG anime, it's only sub. Like I would get it if it's like from the beginning, but I could not imagine that. I could not imagine that. Like these are the voices of these characters for me. Um, and like I said, if it was from the beginning. It could be that way for the English voice actors, but there really isn't that except for in a couple of the movies. Uh, the collection. I think I showed that off before, but the OVAs and movies. Um, so that was another thing. I was like, I don't know about that, but you know, this movie's an hour and 40 minutes. I actually didn't feel like it dragged on too much. Um, I felt the villains were a little weak, especially I don't know, like these two guys, are the villains, and especially this guy. He like barely does anything, and he gets like shot in the head, which was like all right. And then you have this guy who's like interested romantically in Corey, which they did that I think in a City Hunter as well, where she had like a date with some guy or something. Um, so it's kind of similar here, where Rio's not being open to her, about his feelings because he never is. And I did like that in here a little bit, where they showed it at the end, where he's like, where he says when she's in the wedding dress, you look the same, and then he says like at the end, the same is it's beautiful and all this. So he thinks that. So I like that because it does show he really does care. Because in this movie he's a lot like kind of more aloof than I think usually with Kiori, like where he does show a lot more. I don't want to say concern because he does care, but it's a lot more like he says that. I think sometimes, not all the time, but I just felt like it was more aloof than that. I can't remember the exact term he used, but I really liked how he said it at the end, where it was like, it was the same. The same things are beautiful, and people I want to protect. Or people I want to protect. I don't know, but so that was something. They only kind of do that for like the first, I don't know, like maybe half an hour, where you're like, oh, are they trying to do this? And then they kind of swerve, um, where you automatically, you see he's the villain, and then you kind of see that, and they don't hide that from, Carrie, so she keeps going out with him, whatever. They say that, and it's not like she doesn't believe him. She's like, yeah, okay, like that. So I appreciated that. Seeing the flashback was kind of cool, like with the hammer. She's just a kid and she got the hammer still. I like that. I don't know if I have too much else to say. I just really enjoyed it. Uh, the fight scene with the like tanks, not the tanks, the mechs, and not mechs. Jesus Christ, like the kind of spider robots and the the drones. I thought was pretty sweet. Like I really liked Rio using that gun. Which in that scene when he sawing off the gun, like I really liked it. I don't know if anyone else really got this, but I felt like when he looked at the gun after Kyo was like, I'm gonna go talk to him, the villain. And he just kind of goes like, he looks at the gun, and I feel like he was kind of looking at a way like where he's like, you know, one of the reasons I feel like he never really admits his feelings to her is because he still wants her to have a normal life, and as long as he's in it, there'll be bloodshed and stuff like that. So I just read that from that scene, and I don't know if that's what the intention was, but I read that. But anyway, the gun was pretty sweet. Like he just kept using that. I don't mind. I like that he uses other guns. There's a couple times I feel like he should when he's going up against a lot of these people, and he did it in there. And that final drone fight with the Slayer, I forget its name. That was awesome. Like where he is counting the missiles, and then he dodges them all and just shoots it. I really like that. That's like peak Rio right there. When he's shooting down the helicopters and shit. Um, the kind of battle thing also reminded me of the also remind me of Bay City Wars, where it's something similar with war and stuff, and they tried doing that. And then it also reminded me of Angel Heart, in the beginning when they're fighting for Shinjuku. They also, I feel like they made it more important. Like originally in the OG anime, they didn't put as much of a focus on Shinjuku. Like they did, people, but not as like I want to protect this town, these people. And they showed that in here again, which I liked. Trying to think really. Uh, oh, and they also had a tease at the end for post credit scene or whatever, I feel like it didn't really do anything. I don't know what I was meant. Like, I don't know. I was kind of mixed on that, where it was like, what was the point of that, like, at all? Um, but I'm hoping, that's probably a tease for Angel Dust, which I think is the stuff that they use in the manga, which I feel like they wasted in the anime. They didn't use it. Where, well, I don't want to really spoil the manga in this, so just, you can actually find it translated online. That's how I read it. But I think that's the route they're going down, where they're gonna finally show his origin that they did in the manga with the Angel Dust, and then, it even says the beginning and the end. So I think there's probably gonna be another movie, and then maybe that's it. Which I don't want it to end on one hand, but on the other hand, it's like these actors are getting old and stuff, and it's like I want it to be the story from start to end with these people. Like they are these characters for me. And if you watch anime, you know, subbed, sometimes you just feel like eventually you feel like they're speaking English. Like you're reading it and then you gotta hear it in English. Um, and I couldn't imagine anyone else voicing them. Uh, not the way it is now. And they sounded the same to me. At first, I was like, "Oh, Rio sounds a bit different," but then I felt like it went back to how it was. Um, so that was pretty sweet. I think that's about it. They also during the end credit scene they remade some good moments from City Hunter, which I really really liked that. Like when Rory and they first meet for the dolls, the human dolls. When they're smuggling them to China, like for human trafficking. Which I just rewatched that episode. I kind of had a hankering to watch a couple episodes, so I'm not restarting to watch the whole thing. But I watched that and the death of Makimura, and then they also showed, they did the death of Makimura, and then they showed the episode, which I really liked, the one where Corey gets like kind of mind controlled by those earrings, and he gets shot by her, and he's like, if you can't, with the nuke. Well, I mentioned that scene, but it was so freaking sick where he's like holding her and he shoots the gun and it's like shows the bullet to hit the wire and it's like that was awesome. And he kisses her and stuff, and I like that where he's like, if you can't go back to being you, like I don't know, like I think he said like I don't know, like I'll die or something. I can't remember. I can't believe that, but they did that, and then they also did the episode where they kind of pretend to get married, which I like that. I feel like they're going somewhere. They are going somewhere. I feel like this isn't just a one off. Like I know because there's Angel Dust, but I just feel like they are going somewhere towards a conclusion here, and I feel it. So hopefully that's what happens. I do actually I keep remembering stuff here. I'm trying not to make it too long, but it's going that way. Umi Bozu in this was great. I liked Mini Bozu, the robot. That was a bit weird, but I ended up liking that. And then Miki and him, their relationship is still great. I felt like Umi Bozu was played a little stupider in this, like where it was kind of a joke, but where he's like, fighting the spider mechs, he's like, okay, I flipped him upside down. They can't come back from that, and then they do, and then he's like, okay, I drowned them in water. They can't come back, and they do, and then you know, where all he's like out of bullets and Miki saves him and stuff. I just feel like he wasn't as like, as on it as he was in the as the anime and the other stuff I've watched in this. I also feel like Rio should save Umi Bozu every once in a while. Like they fight together, but it's like I feel like a lot of the time he's the one saving Rio. So I'd like a little bit more of some quid pro quo, you know. Um, so that was a little bit of a complaint, not much, but uh, and he wasn't killing anybody either. It seemed like, which was ridiculous. Like even if Rio's not killing people, I feel like he should be. He has no qualms. Uh, so that was a bit weird too. Where I was like, okay. Also, something I mentioned, Bay City Wars. Something that reminded me of that as well was was the fight scene with Umi Bozo and the goon. I forget, they don't really say the name with the mustache. It reminded me of the fight in Bay City Wars where he's fist fighting that guy and they keep like beating the shit out of each other. So that was also pretty cool. Um, I also did really like the ending in that where he takes the guy out and not kills him, but that was awesome. Oh yeah, yeah. When or is like talking to him, he's like, I'll basically he's like, I'll kill you. I saved you for showing me the path, but showing me the path of you know might equals right type shit, and she just like moves her head and Rio shoots and like hits the gun out of his hand from that. That was pretty sweet. I like that because you don't know Rio's behind her, and then he shoots the bullet into the machine, which the case was once again pretty interesting. I liked the girl even in this, and it just it felt peak City Hunter. I don't know. Like I said, I've heard some lukewarm kind of reviews, but I really enjoyed it, and I felt like even in modern day, which I said like I said, it took me a little bit to get used to. I enjoyed it. I kind of prefer that 80s anime look though. I do still like modern anime, like especially seeing it like this. I do see some things that really improved. Like I said, the fighting. They don't reuse as much stuff I think in this. Um, so I know I've also been making a lot of videos with City Hunter. I'm probably gonna make one more about two more. I'm gonna make one more about the Korean drama when I finish that off, and then I'm gonna make one showing off my whole City Hunter collection. Now that I've got everything, so hopefully, like I said, they release Angel Dust soon, and then we hear more about the other one. Um, I like I said, this has been a great journey watching this. I really I've mentioned this before, but I was completely out of anime, and this really brought me back into it. And I've watched a lot of I've been watching more anime now, like I did with the Banished from the Countryside, Banished from the Heroes Party, um, and I'm watching something else that I'll probably make a separate video on. But just great anime. One of my favorites of all time, actually. So I'll continue going with this, and that's about it. Peace.